Ronald Harold Johnson as an American accountant, businessman, and politician serving as the senior United States Senator from Wisconsin. He is a member of the Republican Party. Johnson was elected to the Senate in 2010, defeating Democratic incumbent Russ Feingold, and re-elected in 2016, again defeating Feingold. Before politics, Johnson was chief executive officer of a polyester and plastics manufacturer founded by his brother-in-law. During the debt ceiling crisis of 2011, Johnson was known as a staunch fiscal hawk who called for federal spending cuts. In 2017, he voted for President Donald Trump's Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. A staunch ally of Trump, Johnson launched investigations of Trump's political opponents, spread conspiracy theories about the FBI and Trump-Ukraine scandal, promoted false claims of fraud in the 2020 election, suggested that Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi was at fault for the storming of the U.S. Capitol by a pro-Trump mob, and stated that the pro-Trump insurrectionists love this country. Johnson rejects the scientific consensus on climate change, claiming that scientists who attribute global warming to human activity are crazy, and the theory is lunacy. He opposes the Affordable Care Act and has voted multiple times to repeal it. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he argued against public health measures, used his chairmanship of the Senate Homeland Security Committee to invite witnesses to push fringe theories about COVID-19, and downplayed the need for widespread COVID-19 vaccinations. As of 2021, Johnson is the only statewide elected Republican in Wisconsin. Johnson was born in Mankato, Minnesota, the son of Jeanette Elizabeth and Dale Robert Johnson. His father was of Norwegian descent and his mother of German ancestry. Growing up, Johnson delivered newspapers, worked as a caddy at a golf course, baled hay on his uncle's dairy farm, and worked as a dishwasher in a restaurant. He graduated from Edina High School in 1973 and from the University of Minnesota in 1977 with a degree in business and accounting. He continued studying until 1979 but did not receive a graduate degree. In 1979, Johnson moved to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, with his wife, Jane. He worked for his wife's family's plastics company, PACUR, an abbreviation of Pat Curler, Jane's brother. Curler created the company with funding from his and Jane's father, Howard Curler. Howard Curler had been named CEO of the plastics giant Bemis Company in 1978. And for the first several years of PACUR's existence, Bemis was the company's only customer. According to his campaign biography, Johnson worked as PACUR's accountant and a machine operator. The company later expanded into specialty plastics used in medical device packaging, which involved hiring salespeople and exporting products to other countries. In the mid-1980s, Pat Curler left PACUR and Johnson became its CEO. In 1987, the Curler family sold PACUR to Bowater Industries for $18 million. Johnson remained the company's CEO. In 1997, he purchased PACUR from Bowater. He remained CEO until he was elected to the Senate in 2010. The 2010 U.S. Senate campaign was Johnson's first run for elected office. He was described as a political blank slate because he had no history of campaigning or holding office. Johnson attracted the attention of the Tea Party movement when he gave 2 emotional speeches at Tea Party rallies. According to the New York Times, Johnson said he did kind of spring out of the Tea Party, and is glad to be associated with it, although he did not join the Senate Tea Party caucus following his election. In the September 14, 2010, Republican primary, Johnson, running a largely self-financed campaign, defeated Watertown businessman Dave Westlake with 85% of the vote to Westlake's 10% and 5% for Stephen Finn. As a candidate, Johnson opposed the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. He launched his campaign by telling the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that the United States would have been far better off not spending any of the money and the recovery happen as it was going to happen. The newspaper later reported that the Education Council Johnson led considered applying for stimulus money in 2009, but ultimately elected not to. The Johnson campaign stated that nonprofits consider many possibilities, but that the council made no application for stimulus funds. Johnson's 2010 Senate campaign raised $15.2 million, $9 million of which was his own money. In June 2011, His financial disclosures showed that PACUR had paid him $10 million in deferred compensation in early 2011. The compensation covered the period from 1997 to 2011, during which he took no salary from PACUR. Johnson said that, as CEO, he had personally determined the dollar amount and that it was unrelated to the contributions he had made to his campaign. In the November 2nd election, Johnson defeated Democratic incumbent Russ Feingold with 52% of the vote. After being elected to the Senate, Johnson